Oh man. Tower of Fantasy isn't a bad game. It's just carrying too much weight. Hota Studios, or Hata, whatever it's fucking pronounced, deserves more credit than we give them. From the title of this video or upload, whatever you want to call it, screen capture, you know how I feel about Tower of Fantasy. God, man, it was a time where I was enjoying the fuck out this game. I even liked it way better than Genshin Impact, man. I was like, it has an edge over Genshin Impact, man. I'm not just talking about because it has more fan service. It's just the overall experience is better to me. And the story, even though like Genshin is abysmal and it could be boring and uninteresting, it's more interesting than Genshin's story, I'll tell you that. It is. Even though the story in Tower Fantasy is like meh, you know. But it's like overall, both storylines are fucking abysmal as fuck. And but at the same time, at least it has something. But I give them that. I give both games that. But anyways, back to Tower of Fantasy. I quit the game again months ago because of the clunkiness and it's not polished. And I read a comment about 4 days ago with somebody they booted up the game again, and it's still the same way despite all these fucking patches that they've been pushing out. It seems like they're focused more on pushing out patches for new characters and shit like that, as opposed to fixing the main problem of the game, which is the jankiness, the clunkiness, the glitches, the bugs, all that type of shit, which caused me to leave. That's the only issue I had with it. I love the game. Everything else about the game I loved. It was just the clunkiness and jankiness. I just couldn't take it no more. And I did read some of this because I'm supposed to be leaving today to visit my sister, and I didn't do the screen capture earlier without reading it because I thought she was going to be here to pick me up earlier than she said she was. So, but since I got time now and she's going to be late, I decided to do this fucking screen capture vlog. And but yeah, so that's why I read some of the shit before recording here. But anyways, I read quite a bit. I'm gonna let you know what I didn't get to. So this person basically has zero hate for the game, I guess, and he says it's not a bad game. It's just Halta Studios deserves more credit than we give them. It's like he doesn't even understand why people don't like the game. Let's read what he says. He says, "Hi all. I just thought I put out a few thoughts I've had brewing in my mind of late regarding Tower of Fantasy and where it stands at the moment. Not to rile anything up, they kill me with that shit, but rather to comment on what I believe went well. What's kept the game back, and where I see Hata Studios in all this. Let's be real for a sec. Tower of Fantasy is a solid game. A presentation, resplendent, original looking, and mechanically rewarding game. Combat is arguably still one of the game's finest. The character designs are among the best. Environments and region layouts are designed with such an attention to detail and artistry that it really wowed me the first time around, and continues to do so when I visit in between. I believe what's actually hurting Tower of Fantasy isn't the lack of quality or effort, it's the game structure. It's attempted to balance two extremely taxing genres simultaneously: MMO mechanics and gacha monetization. Now, I have zero issue with the gacha in the MMO mechanics. I never had an issue with it at all. But continuing what he said, he says, and that combination, even if bold and innovative, is also what's been dragging it down. Bullshit! Moving on. MMO plus gacha equals heavy burden. Disagree with that. He says, on the other hand, MMOs naturally require players to be active frequently, remaining current with the meta, farming for resources, player basing. It rewards regularly but penalizes absence. What does he mean by penalizing absence? I had to ask that question when I first read it. What, you miss out on something if you stay away from the game for a certain period of time? That's not a penalty. You miss out because you wasn't there to claim it, or you wasn't there to pull for it. It's that simple. How's that a fucking penalty? That's how the game is designed. I mean, I understand the arguments against FOMO to a certain extent, but overall, it's a dumb argument. You miss out, you miss out. You know what I'm saying? If in fact, FOMO forces you to look at yourself and say, what's more important, buying this item now or your finances? Are you good with your money? Do you have money to spare on this item now? And if not, don't be stupid and buy this. You have to eat. You have to take care of yourself first with your money. So FOMO is good in that way. But overall, it's nothing to complain about. It is what it is. And the reason why these games keep on adding FOMO, like Fortnite, Jesus Christ, Overwatch, Tower of Fantasy, Genshin Impact, just to name a few. The reason why these games keep putting FOMO shit in their games is because it works. They make a lot of money doing FOMO shit. Of course they want you to buy it. They want your money. That's the way they hook, line, and sinker your ass. It works every time. And number two, the main people that complain about it are the ones who give into FOMO anyway. Now, let's continue with what this person is saying about this game here. He says, what do you say the pin line? I lost where I was at. Hold on. Okay. He says, on the other hand, gacha systems by nature breed fear of missing out, FOMO, time limited banners, and resource shortage. Excuse me. Mix those up and you get a game that's both taxing in time and finance, which gets tiresome for casual and hardcore players alike. Here's another thing I like to talk about. The game getting tiresome. I never get tired of playing these games. I enjoy every fucking second of playing it. I don't feel burnt out. I don't feel like, oh my God, I got to spend 10 more hours playing this game. No, I'm thinking I got to spend 10 more hours playing something I quite enjoy. Immersing myself once again in something I love playing. That's what I tell myself. I look forward to playing these games. It's not a chore. Once it becomes a chore or a burden, that's when you quit playing the game. It's that simple. It's not for you. Not these types of games is not for everybody. And that's okay. The world looks more beautiful as a rainbow instead of one solid color. Everybody has their preference. Everybody has their interests. Everybody doesn't like the same thing. I mean, that's what makes the world beautiful. Okay, he says, Hata Studios is actually doing great work. Yeah, besides the clunkiness, unpolished gameplay, they are, I bet. Oh, I missed a paragraph. He says, you feel as though you are perpetually behind. I never felt I was behind on anything. Yes, I was behind, but I never felt bad because I was. If you are a new player into these type of games, why should you feel bad that you don't have all these characters that the veteran players have? It makes sense why you don't, because you wasn't playing the game as long as they were. Of course, you're gonna be lacking on content, on what the things you have on your account. What the fuck is he talking about? Moving on, he says you skip a week or so and the disparity just gets bigger. What the fuck? The pressure mounts. Pressure, huh? People burn out eventually. No, not because the game doesn't have content, but because the system is difficult to understand. How is it difficult to understand? To work within your own terms. What? You know what he's saying at this point? He's saying that, oh, I want to get this character, I want to pull for this item, but I just want it, but I missed out because I wasn't lucky enough to pull for it during the gacha system. That's the nature of it. It's about luck. You're either gonna get it or you're not. That's why people pour so much fucking money into these gacha systems. Because they want that item so bad. To get more pulls, they pour in more money. Some players, they luck out with a few pulls and they get the best item in the game that just came out. I've been there. I got lucky like that before. More than once. Sometimes I just pull, and I don't get that item, and they're gone. I'm like, okay, oh well. Better luck next time, or better luck on the next new thing they come out, or new character. I hopefully I'll get them. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't get fucking bitch. I don't bitch and moan about it. It's like whatever, man. Not everybody as lucky as me. Go figure. And they make it seem like you have to spend money on this game to get strong. You have to spend money to get certain characters or certain items or banners, or whatever they want to call them. No, you do not. I mean, was spending money to get more pulls increase your chance of getting that character? Yes. But you still may not get them. It's a gambling system. And these games, Genshin and Tower of Fantasy are like, both these companies, after 10 pulls, you're guaranteed to get a 4-star or important item. You're guaranteed to get it at the 10th pull. Hell, you may get it in 3 pulls. Like I said, it's about luck. Okay, he continues. It says, this is truly where I want to give credit. Halta isn't the villain of the piece here. In fact, the output is phenomenal. They've consistently produced. Hotoverse refuses to fix the jankiness of the fucking game. That's why I quit. If the game was polished, well done, polish-wise, no glitches, no 1,000 bugs, no game crashes in the menu or playing the game itself, or dumb bugs that will cause you to lose control of your character, or you can't do commands because of a fucking bug in the game. If they didn't have all that shit constantly, or pauses during boss fights, okay? Breaking immersion completely. If they didn't have all that, I would still be playing it today. So yes, they are the fucking villain here. Because they're not fixing what the fuck they're supposed to fix, which is how the game is ran. He goes on to say diverse, high quality regions. Amazing new characters with flashy rewarding combat, true. Polished design, yeah, lovely music, right. And smooth combat engine, yes, that's all good. But if you have zero tolerance for the fucking bugs and the jankiness, you're not going to be able to enjoy that shit. They very clearly know what they're doing. In that regard they do. They've got the tools, the talent, the vision, the tools being the key word here. If they made a more standard gacha game, say a character RPG without the MMO baggage, I really believe it would have gone even more massive. That's up for debate. That's up for debate, man. I mean, I'm not gonna even touch that. Instead, they were given a blueprint for something intensely ambitious and intensely risky. The problem isn't the devs. It's the weight of the system. This man acts like this game shouldn't have gotten no criticism whatsoever. That's what I'm. That's the message I'm getting here. Continuing on, he says, "When I look at Tower of Fantasy, I don't see a failed game. I see an ambitious experiment that's nearly too much to bear. A game that attempted to do too much simultaneously and now is struggling to bear it." Well, they still got you hook, line, and sinker. I tell you that. He says, and sure, I know there's been studio changes, licensing announcements, and behind-the-scenes drama in the recent past, but from the player's perspective, I just wanted to say this. Halta Studios has demonstrated that they are capable of creating great games. Yes, they are. They simply got caught in an MMO gotcha crossover that may have been too much even for them. That's bullshit. I don't believe that for a second. Genshin has the same thing, but yet they're more popular than they are. Genshin is mainly popular not because of the nice gameplay or everything else that Tower Fantasy has done. It's also popular because the game is polished. It's way more polished than Tower Fantasy ever hoped to be. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what the fuck? That's one of the first things I noticed when I started playing Genshin again, when I dropped Tower Fantasy for the last time. It is how polished it was. I mean, the Tower Fantasy plays so bad that when I started playing Genshin, I was flinching, expecting the game to crash, expecting some type of very low frame rate to happen. I was just expecting it because I've played so much of Tower before Genshin. Oh my God. That's how bad the game plays. Tower of Fantasy, what the fuck? Goes on to say, that doesn't equate to the game being bad. It just means it's more difficult to keep going for both players and devs. It's more difficult for me to keep going because of the fucking clunkiness of the game. He goes on to say, anyway, thanks for getting this far. Yeah, I'm surprised I did myself for the second time as well. I'm not attempting to make big predictions to tell people what they should think. I just wanted to share a few because I just wanted to share that view because I feel that we sometimes fault the game or the devs without actually appreciating a huge undertaking it is to merge MMO and gacha into a single live service game. Oh my God. Do you notice that he didn't once mention the game is clunky and it's buggy as fuck? Not once did he mention that. I'm amazed he didn't. Sounds like a fucking shill, man. I'm telling you. What do you guys think? Have you experienced this too? Okay, here comes the replies. The best part of the fucking thread, if you ask me. This Grave says, it's a game with good ideas that are poorly executed and abandoned after a while. Moose Main says, came here to say exactly what you said. Really good ideas, poor execution. Speaking from playing it on PS5, if the game solved its user interface issues and performance, lag, optimization issues, then it would shine. Thank you. I was waiting for a fucking comment like that because the person who started the post didn't mention no fucking performance lag, optimization issues at all. How the fuck can you talk about this game without mentioning the unpolished gameplay? That's beyond me, man. Fighter Z says, I agree about MMO plus gacha is not a good combination. To be honest, personally, I don't have much problems with this since I play Tower of Fantasy daily, casually for fun. You're not a casual player if you play it every day, bro. Anyways, he says, I played since launch day just to see how fun it is, and then I got hooked because of the fast-paced combat, double jump, and more movements. Dash as you can move freely. That not many other games have that. Tower of Fantasy open world design and exploration traverse is the one I'm looking for all this time since I've tried other MMOs, open world, and RPG games. Tower of Fantasy open world design is one of the best and the most impressive to me, especially Miroria, Inaris, Domain 9, and Gethros Network. I think I've been to Memoria. I believe I've been there before. That sounds familiar. He continues, he says, I haven't spent any money and I already have most of limited SSR weapons in the game. Me too. I ain't spent a dime in the game and I got a lot of good shit on my account. Though I wish they learn more. They lean more into MMO stuff than gotcha in the gameplay system or release the reboot version officially from the start. Tower of Fantasy is unique in its own way as well as it is not for everyone and people play it for many reasons. Dude, the game, as far as player interaction, there's zero to none in that game. Zero to no player interaction. It feels more like, I'm getting ahead of myself here. It feels more like a single player game than a fucking multiplayer game. And before reading that somebody posted that on here, I thought the same thing before reading it. So I was like, I'm not the only one that feels that way. I think PSO2 means Phantasy Star Online too. I believe it's what it means. I played that game too, but I just can't get into it. I lost interest of it. I've streamed it once, and that was it. There were some aspects I liked about it, but I just couldn't stick with it. It just didn't stick with me. Phantasy Star Online 2, while not an MMO, had a faction-only gacha. Fashion-only gacha, okay. They still got lots of complaints because the players aren't given enough to get every fashion item shown in them. Wow. Never mind that the multi-account users were able to work around that by funneling all their resources to their main by a few small maneuvers in the player shop. Game has no direct trading option. People already have a predetermined bias against gachas, even if the contents are cosmetics only. It's like nothing will be enough for them. Yeah. They got a version of Tower of Fantasy without the gacha, and people are praising the shit out of it. I mean, if I was still playing the game, I would hate the fact that they took out the gacha. I like the gacha system in the game. I love it, man. In fact, I would have hated if they just omitted it entirely. But they only did it in like one region. I think it's only in China. They got a version where you can play without the gacha system. I'm assuming it's gonna spread to other regions, but it should give you an option. You either play it with the gacha or play it without it. They should give us an option so everybody can be happy. Their player base is already low anyway. I mean, come on, man. Sukri says, some people will always complain about not being able to get everything, be it gacha or not. Also, the not enough to get every fashion item is an understatement. And Sword Art Phantasy Star Online case. Not like I disagree that the complaints were often silly though. So he disagrees. You do get enough for the cosmetics in that game for Phantasy Star. Well, somebody's actually is incorrect though. I didn't play it enough to determine who's correct and who's not. So, but anyways, Tower of Fantasy. This first, I'm gonna just call him C. It's got a robotic username. C says Tower of Fantasy is a game that made this weird combination of gacha MMO. Weird combination, huh? MMO purists struggle with this because MMO players don't understand that in any gacha, new units is part of the progression, just like getting the latest raid gear in an MMO. So you have to plan for it. Gacha purists struggle because they don't understand that MMOs are social games at its core. So you're supposed to work with others to progress. I played a lot of Tower of Fantasy. I ain't worked with a single player in that game at all. I haven't. I played solo, alone. There was one point I didn't stream it though. There was one point where I was playing off stream and I got to fight against another character. And there was another point which I played off stream where I was actually fighting against a boss with another player. But those are the only two instances where I actually played with other players. Like 98% of the time, I play by myself in Tower of Fantasy. I mean, yeah, sometimes you will see players wandering in the field, but they don't do nothing. They're like robots. You don't interact with them. They don't interact with you. Sometimes they just stand in there. Maybe they're eating a sandwich. I don't know. Or maybe they're chatting. And their players just standing there. They're not walking around collecting nothing. It's crazy. It continues, it says, yet this weird combination somehow works for those of us who get it. It's a small game because it's niche. Gacha is a niche hobby. MMOs are a dying genre, and anime games are also a niche within the game industry. Tower of Fantasy is placed in the small intersection of the Venn diagram of all these things, so it will always be a small game, and it will always have a small budget. And that's why Tower of Fantasy is a janky game. Now, this is what I strongly disagree with, this part here. He says that Tower of Fantasy is janky, it's buggy because the studio is small budget. Before I comment further, I'm going to read the rest of what he says. Tower of Fantasy is placed in the small intersection of the Venn diagram of all these things, so it will always be a small game, and it will always have a small budget. And that is why Tower of Fantasy is a janky game. Always has been and still is. And it will keep being a janky game for all the remaining time we have from the 10 years promise. But it's still fun. I get to do MMO like try hard in every 2 months with OOW and limited time raids with other people with a fraction of the time investment a pure MMO requires. I can enjoy sci-fi elements in the game after decades of Tolkien. I cannot pronounce this word. Tolkienesque slop. Anyways, I'm not forced to play a self-insert hero in a harem slop anime game. Okay, let me stop her there. That is not true. The game has been out long enough to fix the jankiness. How much money does it cost to have a game that's polished? And how is it unreasonable in any shape or faction, or any form of faction, to expect a polished game on launch date? How is that unreasonable? Other developers have succeeded, at least most of them have succeeded in making a polished game on launch date with a few to little bugs, maybe. Of course, there's always room for improvement within the game, but the thing is, Tower of Fantasy is buggy as fuck. It crashes constantly. It is bad. It's not a few here and there. How long has this person been playing the game, really? Seriously, how long has this person been playing the game? He gonna say it's always been janky and always will. He don't expect the game to improve regarding the jankiness. Who the fuck is this person? Another shield? Ridiculous. How the fuck can you play this game and expect no improvements because you say it's a low budget game? A studio that's behind it. That's stupid. How much does it really cost to make a polished game? Come on, man. Unfucking believable. People are so unbelievable these days. He goes on, it continues, he says, he got more to say. Even then, Tower of Fantasy is one of the most played anime MMOs right now. I doubt that. So regardless of the things the game doesn't do or can't do well, what you mean can't do well? You mean like fixing the jankiness? Kiss my ass. Yes, they can. Hata was onto something when they created this game. No shit. I don't know if the rumors of the future MMO server will lead somewhere, but if Hata or Hota, whatever the fuck that's how it's pronounced, can cook something interesting in terms of gameplay and bring back the technical, artistic experience they got from working with UE5 or NTE, they might bring a lot of players back. Dude, players ain't coming back. They left because the game is fucking broken. That's why they left. And they may never fucking return. Okay? Or at least start working on a Tower Fantasy 2. But honestly, I think that what we see is what we always will get. Good enough for me, but understandable if not enough for others. I commend you for even tolerating this fucking shit. What the fuck? Glad that's over. Froster Bay says, agree. I love Tower Fantasy for what it is. I used to play Genshin religiously before trying Tower Fantasy, then playing both. But to be honest, I really miss the MMO aspect of every other gacha. And I miss the gacha in every other MMO. Plus, I don't have the time to progress meaningfully in a typical MMO. I don't love the mecha exploration fighting stuff they did in the Smart City. And now Kaleo, but I'm happy to just wait for auto exploration for that. I love how Tower of Fantasy doesn't force you to do stuff you don't want to do, which is always good. I liked the mecha shit. You mean the Gundam Wing X part of the game? I fucking loved it. And ironically enough, that's when the game started crashing for me for the first time when I got to that portion of the game. Where you got into this big ass gun, you could fly, you could shoot out laser beams and shit. It was fucking great. But the frame rate dropped tremendously, and the game was damn near unplayable. I'm surprised I got through the motherfucker. It crashed the first time it crashed on me. I was in the menu trying to see what the fuck I could do to my suit, my Gundam suit. Quote unquote, my mecha. It crashed on me for the first time during the menu. It was fucking atrocious. It was grueling to get through that shit. I was surprised I didn't drop the game at that point. Anyways, it continues. I also adore having my own character and using simulacra skins being optional. Yep, that's cool. With so much customization for my own character, I don't feel the need to pull for simulacra skins unless I really love the weapon skin. Nola weapon summer skin is gorgeous in color. Complements my other frost weapons, so I splurged. Yeah, it depends on if you want it bad enough. Okay, that's enough of that. Non-canon kid says, I just played this long because it's part MMO. If this was a solo RPG game like those common one, maybe I already would have quit a long time ago. Bro, I'm calling him Bro Son. These names. Bro Son says, while I understand and agree with a lot of your points, I think if Tower of Fantasy was just another single player story driven open world gotcha game, it would have probably died faster because Tower of Fantasy 1.0 would lack the pull and polish as its now direct competitor Genshin Impact, which was at its peak during the Tower of Fantasy launch. I'm not saying that Tower of Fantasy would have gained a more player following than Genshin would have. I wouldn't have said it would have been the game of the year or the preferred game of a Genshin if it was polished. But the thing was, they would have had me hook, line, and sinker over Genshin if it was playable. That's what I'm saying. It continues. It says, if Tower of Fantasy 1.0 was just another anime MMORPG, there's a chance it would have simply died in China without ever reaching global, without the gacha monetization to fund it. Tower of Fantasy pretty much only persists because it's this weird combination of gacha and MMO. I agree with that. I agree. The gacha system saved it. And it's making them tons of money. Just like it's making Genshin developers tons of money with their gacha system. And I'm not saying that the people behind Tower of Fantasy has the same budget as the people behind Genshin. I'm not saying that they worth more money than Genshin. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying that I'm getting ahead of myself once again. I'm saying that the reason why the player base is so fucking small, the reason why people don't really care about this game is because the game is unpolished. I stand by that. I'm going to stand by that to the day I fucking die, okay? That is the God's honest truth. It's not because of gotcha and MMO. It's not, I don't like that. Or whatever the fuck other critics say about the game, despite the fact the game is clunky as fuck, okay? It's the fact that the game is clunky and it's barely unplayable, why people have fell out or bounced. That's why the game is suffering. That's why it hurts them. It hurts them that the game is clunky. I thought that was the reason why they got rid of Tencent running the game, because they wasn't fixing the problems of it. That's why I thought that the father company took over the game. That's why, because it's like, you know what, Tencent ain't doing a good job. They're not fixing what the issues of this game. So we're going to just push them to the side and take it over ourselves and solve the issues. That's what I thought. That's what made me pick it back up for the first time. Or that's what made me pick it back up the last time, I should say. Because I thought that, okay, these guys are going to fix the issues that caused me to quit the first time. Nope. It got worse as I progressed through the fucking game. Go figure. I encountered more bugs, more unseen glitches. Ridiculous. Because, I keep playing it because I know the game. I read somebody say, I know the game is clunky. It's like an itch I need to scratch. I shared this in the stream, by the way, but I'm going to say it again here. It's the itch that you need to scratch. I agree. We kept itching. But I stopped itching at a certain point in time. I don't itch for this game anymore. That's the thing. I was itching for it. That's why I kept booting this shit up and playing it despite the fucking clunkiness into the game and the bugs and shit. But I'm not itching for it anymore. I'm just not. It goes on to say, it continues, it says, the MMO, in my opinion, the gacha MMO mix could have been more successful if the devs took a better approach with proper weapon balance and power creep to protect long-term investments and had more traditional MMORPG elements like physical social hubs. player trading and fleshed out guild activities like housing. Yeah, probably would have helped it. I agree. But Tower of Fantasy's gotcha versus Genshin Impact gotcha is that in Tower of Fantasy you pull more often than you do in Tower of Fantasy. I mean in Genshin. Yeah, Tower of Fantasy basically in case I fucked up the words. In Tower of Fantasy, you pull more as opposed to pulling in Genshin. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just something I've noticed by playing both games. Will I prefer to pull more in a Genshin? Yes. I would prefer to pull more than I do in Genshin. Yeah, I would prefer to pull more in a gacha game as opposed to not, basically, you know. But yeah, so that's my thoughts on that. I mean, it's simply because Genshin doesn't give you enough resources to pull at a time. You know what I'm saying? Because like Tower of Fantasy, you have to play the game to earn the items to allow you to pull in the gacha system. But with Genshin, it's more limited at a time. That's why you don't pull as much in Genshin. Given if you're not spending no money to buy more Primo Gems, which they're called, in order to fucking pull in a gacha system. And yet, to be fair, you could also spend money to get the items to pull in Tower of Fantasy as well. But I'm saying, if you're spending no money in either game, you're gonna pull a lot more in Tower than you do in Genshin Impact. So continuing on, it says, playing Tower of Fantasy feels like everyone is playing their own single-player game. Yep. That's exactly what I was talking about earlier. But they just happen to share a world with other players. That is perfect fucking description how to play on what it's like to play this game. Our worlds don't really converge unless you need to do instance content like joint operations, raids, final trial, or origin of war. Yet most of the open world experience feels single player. Exactly. They had the vast open world, but instead of filling it with content to do, instead opted for throwing almost all the content into menus upon menus, which made it really convoluted and visually unfriendly for most players. Yeah, that's the difference between Tower of Fantasy and Genshin Impact. Both games have vast open worlds, but Tower of Fantasy doesn't offer you a lot to do in that world. And I wouldn't necessarily say that's a bad thing. Because if you want to do more things, you got to go to the menu and do that and do that shit. I don't necessarily dislike it. But you know, even if they have more to do in the world, it would be cool, you know what I'm saying? If not, whatever, you know what I mean? But you do fight a lot of different monsters and shit like that and find Easter eggs and shit. But yeah, I mean, I can't really knock it, you know, but it is what it is. I get why people complain about it. You know, you're just running around, it's barren, it's everything seems dead, there's nothing to do, you're just running around. Yeah, I get the complaints, but it never really bothered me. Especially if it's a post-apocalyptic setting, you know. Could I expect a post-apocalyptic setting in the MMO game to not have anything to do really in that world? Because people won't be out there, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you do Tower of Fantasy. You do run into people that give you side missions and shit. You can help different people in the world, but it's much more to do in the world in Genshin as opposed to Tower. But yeah, so he says he finishes up saying, so yeah, the gacha MMO mixes heavy for sure, but I think Hata messed up a lot with its execution. Huh. Z says, Tower of Fantasy started as a traditional MMO. The gacha was added shortly before launch, and it was reworked as a gacha moving forward. That's interesting to learn. So originally it wasn't going to be a gacha game, but they added that shit in, which helped them in my opinion. It continues. Doesn't invalidate rather anything you said, just a key part of the game's history. Thanks for sharing that. 1.0 story was written for the original MMO, so gacha characters are featured in the story except a few inserts at the beginning of 2.0. Change all that when they started to write the story as a gacha game and featuring the characters. Interesting. Okay, I'm gonna skip some of this, man. Yeah, so my main complaint about it was the fact that it plays bad. You know, it's janky and shit. Now, this person is attempting to explain the problem the reason why people have a problem with the gacha system, or these games in particular. This is from Genshin Infinity to YouTube. This person says, I think the problem is the expectation of single player gacha gamers in an MMORPG like Tower of Fantasy. It's the expectation is the problem. Yeah, it is. They get frustrated, quit, and rant about this. The incorrect expectations. Okay, here we go. This is the listing. The incorrect expectations are: 1, trying to solo bosses and not asking for help from crew world chat. Let me see if I ever had that problem. If I want help with a boss, I would go to Google. I wouldn't even ask the chat for help. I go to Google to get an idea on how to fucking do it. So I don't think that's really an issue. It depends, because you may not want to chat with other players in the game. You have your reasons, so you'll go to Google and get idea how to defeat a boss or whatever, or how to get the best weapon or the best gear to be able to defeat said boss. Okay, number 2 issue, he says, thinking that only weapons matter and complaining about power creep, but don't understand that gear stats are what really matters. Yeah, that's ignorance. That's what it is. Because in the traditional RPG game, the stronger the weapon is, the more likely you're able to win against the battle because that weapon will take more damage. But with these MMOs, it's more than just a weapon. You have to have the right gear in order to succeed. That's true. So another issue, he says, expecting the usual gacha UI, user interface that is. Expecting the usual gacha UI. Oh, okay. Tower Fantasy's UI is a mix of gacha and MMORPG features, plus artworks of characters and casual features. Everything in it is UI too. In Genshin, for example, if I want to do Spiral Abyss or Imaginarium Theater, I have to teleport or travel to the exact location in the map, right? In Tower of Fantasy, it's in the UI. If I need to fish, I can choose it in the UI of Tower of Fantasy, and it teleports me to the fishing location. Yeah, that's the convenience. Because the game is so big, they have to have that mechanic in it. Why would you want to travel? I mean, you can, but it'll take you fucking decades to get there. But if you want to travel all the way there, prepare to sit back and spend hours of gameplay just to get to that point. Or you can just teleport there. Okay, it continues. By the way, I don't agree with your FOMO comment. Oh, here we go. Most players who are affected by FOMO most likely move to more popular games. Yeah, that's one thing they would do. Not everyone uses simulacra as well. Banners, events, and mini games in Tower of Fantasy also last for like 30 days. Not like the usual 1 week for events and 20 days for banners in other gacha games. Almost nothing can be missed out. Yeah, but you still can get unlucky and not pull them though. Those items or characters though. But the thing is, they expect everything to be handed to them. They expect it to be like, oh, a few pulls I should be guaranteed to get. No, even the game itself tell you that you're not guaranteed to get them. You might. And it does say, oh, on the 10th pull, you're guaranteed to get a 4-star weapon or important item. You know what I'm saying? But you may not get that item that you're looking for or that character. It doesn't tell you that. I mean, what more do they have to do to get you to continue to play? Here's the reply to it. It said account backup says, account backup. I think the FX of polishing the game is very important. Thank you. Fuck everything else. Polish the fucking game. Jesus. People can like the game for many reasons, even power creep, but nobody likes unpolished games. Right. 1 bug, 2 bug. People can brush it off. Exactly. 10 plus bugs. It severely reduces people's tolerance towards the game. That's what happened to me. This is exactly what happened to me. My tolerance for Tower of Fantasy is higher because I like certain things about it. Same cannot be said for many mainstream players. Thus Tower of Fantasy's low popularity. That's what I said earlier. That's why it's not as powerful, as popular anymore. That's why it's not as popular, because of the fucking jankiness. The 10 plus bugs. The many bugs the game has. Not everybody's going to continue to play that game. I wish that I could tolerate this shit, but I cannot. And even when I was playing the game, I told my sister, she likes games like this. I told my sister, it's a great game, but I can't recommend it because it's janky as fuck. I couldn't recommend the game, even though I was telling her how much I enjoy it. He finishes up saying, while they are getting better in recent update like 5.0 and 4.0, but hardly any games increased in popularity after initial releases. Right. Was there some improvement regarding the jankiness early on in the game? Was there some improvement that I noticed when I played it again? Yes. But it was still janky though. They didn't resolve the issue entirely. And like I said before, the further I got into the game, the worse it got. Dan Priest says, yeah, I totally get what you're saying. I think this fits really well with what I was trying to point out in the post. Even if the core systems of Tower of Fantasy are ambitious and the content is solid, the lack of polish really holds the game back for a lot of people. You can have the flashiest combat and coolest character designs, but if the game feels janky or unstable, it chips away at the overall experience fast. Exactly. Like you said, most players can forgive a bug or two, but when these bugs start piling up, performance issues, UI glitches, weird behavior in events or bosses, it starts feeling like the game is rough around the edges no matter how much content it has. That's where a lot of players just lose patience, especially if they don't really have a strong attachment to the game like some of us do. I've noticed the improvements too with the recent 4.0 and 5.0 updates. It's clear Hata is putting in the work to clean things up, but by that point, a lot of players have already bounced. And yeah, you're right. It's super rare for a game to suddenly spike in popularity long after launch unless it pulls something massive or goes viral for the right reasons. At the end of the day, I still think Hata built something cool, but without that baseline polish and consistency, it's hard to keep casual players around, especially when the game already has a pretty complex system and a heavy mix of MMO and gacha mechanics to process. Well fucking said. And on that note, I am cutting this shit. I'm not reading more of this post. And fuck you to the person who fucking started the post without mentioning the jankiness and the bullshit glitches, the crappy gameplay mechanics. I mean the gameplay performance, I'm saying, that caused me to quit in the first place. I was just waiting. When I was reading that beginning post that started this whole thread, I was just waiting for him to mention that, but he didn't. Oh my God. With that being said, this is why Chromosome sign the fuck out. Peace and love. Good health to you all and be safe out there. Peace. I'm out.